Hello. We will be reviewing the ICD10 functionality available in the 7.2 release of Meridian Specialty, scheduled for your group in August. And there's a few things in the setup I wanted to show you, as well as a quick overview of the workflow. So first, I am going to go into my maintenance area and open my practice tab. This will allow me to set the date for my ICD10 billing to start. So I am going to select today. It's currently marked for October 1st, 2015, which of course is your actual start date. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And then I'm also going to touch briefly on preferences. So there's two sets of preferences, practice and user. And we also, under the administrative tab here, have diagnosis coding method. And when I click on that, I have the options that will be available within Meridian 7.2. So ICD9 only, I10 only, or I can dual code with I9 or I10 as my primary. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as ICD9 only for the practice. However, for my user, Dr. Grills, I'm going to come in here under problem list, and I'm going to change it to dual code with ICD9 as primary. The user code will override the practice code, or preference, I'm sorry. So if I want to move faster or a little bit slower than some of my colleagues, some of my staff, I have the option of what I want to see. However, when I start coding dual code or I10 only, even if it's before October 1st, and I update a code that is currently in an I9 format to an I10, that is now in the patient chart, it's in the database, so I don't lose any of my work that I'm doing because I'm not quite ready to go forward yet, whatever the case may be with your practice. But this is a transitional workflow, so you know, if you go ahead and change something today, when you log in 3 months and you're ready to go, all those patients that you've touched over the last few weeks will be ready for ICD-10. So I'm going to go ahead and select dual code with I9 as my primary so you all can see what that workflow looks like. I'm going to go ahead and open up my patient, Alan Beller, and you see this is what you're probably used to now. I'm going to go ahead and click problems, and it should change my screen. And you'll notice here I have my assign code button. I have an alert that ICD-10 is not present for this, and everything is in red. So let me show you one other quick thing. Demographics, I'm going to pop into that rather quickly. And I don't believe this is new functionality, but I think it actually applies better here. So you can set this up as a test patient. This would allow you to go all the way through how you go in practice, how a patient moves through your practice. And it would allow you to generate all the coding, the super bill, all of those things, with the exception of it doesn't actually send it to the PM system if you mark it as a test patient, but it would allow you to do a lot of your own testing. So let's go back into Mr. Beller's problems. And the first thing I'm going to do is probably before I do this, let's go back out to preferences. I want to show you one more thing. So I'm going to go back into my user preferences, and I'm going to click ICD-10 as primary. I just want you to see how the workflow changes slightly. So now when I hit problems, my screen will render a little differently. So this is the ICD-10 code area. This is my I9 code area. Still with the option of the I10's not there, and I need to assign my codes. But for our little purposes, we're just going to go back here to dual code with I9 as primary. And I'm going to open Alan's chart again. And we'll go back into our problems, and that'll render a little differently, and you'll notice everything's in red. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to simply select Assign Codes. And this is going to take a minute on this to run. I am on a demo system. This is still in development and QA, so there is a little bit of a delay here. But you'll notice I got an alert. Right now it's marked as an error. That's going to be changed as far as the title here. But to let you know what this is about, so anything that is a one-to-one mapping will be automatically assigned when I click OK. any code that is a one-to-many and I have to make a further selection, I have to go through a little bit different process. And there's on the list, I'll show you in a moment, that I can add additional code to existing problems. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And the ones that are one-to-one automatically mapped, so I don't have to do anything there. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight my 607.85. I'm going to do my add additional codes to existing problems. When I click on that, you'll see in green here, I have all of my options in I-10. So I can go ahead and make a selection based on where the ulcer might be. Is there an induration? So I'm going to go ahead and say ulcer. Now you'll also notice down here when I did that, I have some options here of save and previous and save and next. And what this functionality allows me to do, if I had 4 or 5 there that were red, it would allow me to go very, very quickly one to the other, one to the other. In Meridian, sometimes you've had to leave a screen to go to the next thing. We're trying to move you along rather quickly. Now, this was one of my one-to-one mappings, so there's really nothing for me to do here, but I'm going to go ahead and click it anyway and hit OK. And then at this point, this patient is now done. He's ICD-10 ready. You'll notice that this button is gone and the assign codes button is gone. The reason that disappears is he's ready. I'm in ICD-10 coding, so I don't really need that functionality that way anymore. That's kind of my chart prep. So now if I come in and let's say that I decide to update his problem list today and I want to do it from here for whatever reason. So I can simply click in the white, add a problem. I have my favorites listed here. I'm going to go ahead and do dual mode so you can kind of see a little bit. So these are codes I've already mapped. But let's just pull up something. I don't know. Let's do a 599. We'll let that search for a moment. Now the calls will be changing on this. Keep in mind again, it is definitely a demo database. So I'm going to go ahead with the 599.70 and say OK. That again is a one-to-one mapping. Let me pull out my little handy dandy list and see if I can find. So let's look at a 788.30. So we'll try 788.30. We'll search for that one-to-one. So most everything is mapped for you already. So there's that right there. Now let me go into the physician workflow. I'm going to go ahead and open up an encounter. I'm going to do it from right here. I'm going to go up, open up my Urology 95. We'll just give that a second here to load. And I'm going to go ahead and just say that he's got a little back pain just so that I don't have to come back to that. And I will do my current impression today. And again, I have that same search functionality that I had earlier. So if I do decide to search for the codes, it would allow me to do just what I did just then. I could select off of an ICD-9 or an ICD-10 code. The ICD-10 codes are listed here. I can add that to my favorites. But then also over here, so let's just see if we click on ED. There we go. So when I clicked on ED, I have a lot of different ICD-10 options. And so this would allow me to select the one that is most appropriate for what I'm here to see this patient for. This works the same way all the way through. Imagine a lot of these are going to be one-to-ones. Not so much. So again, I have a lot of different options here as to what I can add. So at this point, I've got my ICD-10 codes, my ICD-9 codes, and I can say OK. And then I'll go ahead and save that. And let me slide this over here and say OK, just to go ahead and do that. If I want to go into my coding maintenance management screen, I can do that from here. Go to desktop, look at my billing screen, so I can pull up all my billing info. There's Alan's chart from today. I can edit that, and that would allow me to do that both from the ICD-9 and the ICD-10 perspective. So I have all my options right here. And again, all of this is stored in the database once I make these selections. So that is a brief overview of the functionality. Thank you for your time. I very much appreciate it and hope you all have a good day.